that was bad last night. First of all, I can't believe they played that game. I can't believe they waited that long. They did, and they got it in, and I guess it was okay enough to play the game. The pitching showed up. Zach Wheeler showed up. A tremendous effort last night, and the error cost him some runs.
Pitching's been showing up so much, pretty much the whole season outside of, 2 games maybe?
Yeah, Nola, and then obviously we had the extra inning Brogdon disaster, but I think the pitching's been pretty good, and the starting pitch has been very good. It's the offense right now that is a problem. Last night, the only run on the Kyle Schwarber home run, and here's some things sticking out to me. Number one, Turner and Castellanos look lost right now. Just you're getting that's $400 million of players. You're getting very little from offensively. That hurts. Then, of course, we have the Johan Rojas thing, and I know it. I know he got his first hit last night.
I called it.
Went a whole 35 feet, but he got his first hit. He got his first hit, and I get it.
Baby steps, man. Baby steps.
Well, but here's the problem. They're treating him like he's a pitcher. Late in that game, and I know a lot of people wanted to see Marsh get the at-bat against a lefty because we want to see Marsh play every day and get chances against lefties. The reality is Marsh is not very good against lefties, and Alec Boehm, who didn't start last night, is great against lefties. 6th inning, 2 guys on, down 2. That is the spot for Alec Boehm. That's the spot, and they didn't use him there. And why didn't they use him there? Because Topper knew that he had to use Boehm later in the game because they don't want to let Rojas hit in a big situation. And that's just not my opinion. Listen to this. Here is Topper last night on the decision to let Marsh hit, why he did it. He's spelling it out for you. He can't let Rojas hit late in the game.
He's had 2 great at-bats prior to that. I know it's off a righty, but he's got to get left-handed reps. His at-bats against lefties have actually been pretty good. And I was saving Boehm for the Rojas spot.
The truth came out at the end. That wasn't about reps. No, that was about he knew he couldn't let Rojas hit an inning later, so he had to save Alec Boehm for that spot. Hugh, the offense is a problem. And some people have said I'm being too hard on Rojas. It's not all him, but the game keeps finding him. Last night it did. And on top of it, Hugh, Turner and Castellanos, you're getting nothing out of right now.
Yeah, and you know what the unfortunate thing about Rojas, and it's still early, and I'm not giving up on him. I'm still kind of bullish on the young man. It's just that he looks like he looks the same at the plate. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is it doesn't look like he's trying to work his way through and change anything up. It's just the same inconsistent batting that he's had for a while. Now, I know they said they're going to let him work through that, and I believe that he will. But it's just a little frustrating with this offense sputtering the way that it is, that his issues are being magnified even more because of the situation that he's in crucial parts of the game.
You're right. And right, like if everyone else was hitting, if they had a deeper lineup at the top.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
No, we wouldn't be talking about it as much because they probably have more wins. Last night, maybe they scored 5 runs.
It wouldn't be an issue. Him being
would.
1 for 15 wouldn't even be an issue right now, but it's an issue is because, like you said yesterday, and it's ironic that it happened the way that it did. These key moments keep finding him, and he keeps getting exploited. And it's unfortunate that, it's him and it's happening the way that it's happening. But right now it is what it is because the other guys in the order aren't doing their job.
They're not. And right now, unfortunately, the top of the order, the first 4 or 5 guys, are not doing enough. Schwarber's had a good start to the season. Bryce had an amazing night 2 nights ago. But just in general, I mean, Trey Turner's given them nothing. It looks like the beginning of last year. Castellanos is lost again, not getting anything there. Topper still thinks they're going to be fine offensively. Here's what he said about the offense that right now is just not doing it.
We're a better offensive club than we're showing, obviously, but and it'll come. I have all the confidence in the world in them, but off to a little bit of a slow start. Tough hitting tonight, tough conditions, but no excuses. They had to go through the same thing. So.
They did, and Topper's probably correct that they're going to hit more and they'll hit enough and then they'll be a pretty good offense. But I keep coming back to something that I can't get out of my head. And it's that the Phillies made a mistake this offseason with how they built the roster. And there's one glaring name and combination of names that I keep going back to. They chose Johan Rojas and his defense, and just the idea of defense, right? Let's put Bryce Harper at first base, better defense. Let's put Rojas in the outfield, better defense. And they chose that over something that was very known, and that was Rhys Hoskins' bat. Rhys Hoskins, we talked about it on Monday because he killed the Mets over the weekend. He's off to a good start. He has a 429 on base, 2 home runs. He's walked as much as he struck out. They missed Rhys Hoskins. The Phillies made a mistake here. They chose defense over offense, and right now they can't hit enough. I'm just thinking about this team. If Rhys was back, if they let Bryce go back to right field, if they put Rhys at first base, they'd be a way better offense. You could bat him second, and you could drop Turner down. You could bat him fourth. You could protect Bryce Harper. I just think the Phillies lost their way this offseason. They had a year without Rhys. They thought we don't need him anymore. And the reality is they miss that bat. He grinds at bats. He walks. He doesn't strike out that much compared to the other guys. Hugh, what do you think? I mean, this was a big decision they made. And I think they were thinking big picture, like put Bryce at first base, maybe keep him healthier, all that stuff. Better defense in the outfield. I think they made a mistake choosing Rojas over Rhys. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think that they benefited tremendously by putting Rojas out there defensively. Now, I know his bat has been lacking, and I know that Rhys is off to a really, really hot start. But I think that when you put him out there, you made yourself better defensively. There's no question about that because they skewed better defensively towards the end of the year when Rojas was out there on the field. And I know it's hard to look at that and justify with what Rojas is doing now and what you see Rhys doing, but Rhys is going to cool off, man. He's going to have some time where he's not going to be hitting as hot as he is right now. So I think they made the right decision.
I agree with you. Rhys does this, right? He gets hot, he gets cold. That's been his whole career. But one thing Rhys Hoskins does is basically every single year post an 800 or better OPS. He just does it every year. He came up in 2017, very short sample, 1,000 OPS. Next year, 850, 819, 887, 864, 794 in 2022, and then obviously last year he missed all last year. It's 800 every year, 800, 850 every year. I don't know if I'm getting that out of Trey Turner. I mean, everyone keeps telling me Trey Turner's going to bounce back. He's going to be the guy he was with the Nats and Dodgers. I haven't seen it for the whole time he's been in Philadelphia. So maybe he's going to bounce back, and maybe he makes up for the Rhys stuff, but I don't see it. Castellanos. What do we hear all offseason? They're going to improve their chase rate, right? They're not going to swing at bad pitches.
He's having issues right now.
Constantino.
Sure is.
He's having some issues right now.
And I don't know when those issues fix themselves. And look, if Rhys was here, would Turner and Castellanos still be having issues? Of course. I just think they'd be less important. You could drop them down in the order. Turner wouldn't have to hit two if he's struggling. And I know, Hugh, that Rojas will save a lot of runs in center field. But they also got to create runs, right? It's like, yeah, he'll save some, and they're a better defense this way. There's no question they're a better defense this way. It's just, is this the best way? They need to hit.
I think so. Because going into this, who would have thought? Like, we were all like excited about the 3-run homer, the 3 home runs,
Bryce,
that Bryce hit the other night. This offense looks eerily similar to the offense that played Arizona not too long ago. And it looks like, they're just not on top of the game right now. They're not hitting right now. And you know what the most frustrating thing about it is that it's almost like being told something's going to change in a relationship, and it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
A bad analogy time. It's like when your significant other tells you that they're going to stop hanging out all night and drinking whiskey to the break of dawn or whatever, and then you see them doing the same things over and over again. That's basically what the problem is. This offense is not carrying. They're holding up their end of the bargain. They're really not right now.
And the question that the Phillies thought they had the answer to is, could you teach old dogs new tricks, right? Can you teach Turner and Castellanos not to swing at bad pitches and be more disciplined? I think that's hard. I think it's hard. And then, look, the Rojas thing, it's just exasperated because they're not hitting at the top, so the game finds him. And, yes, we know he's a great glove out there, but you also got to score runs. I mean, last night it felt like it was an old National League game with the pitcher batting ninth, and the manager has to manage around that, not use the best pinch hitter you got, which last night was Boehm on the bench, because Rojas is coming up the next inning. 215-592-9494. The Phillies didn't change much of the team this offseason. They ran it back. One big decision, they made it pretty quickly, was Bryce is going to first. See you, Rhys. We're playing Rojas at center field. And I think it was a mistake. I thought at the time it felt like, man, that's a big risk. And they could have easily done this. Like in 2022, they did it. They got to Game 6 of the World Series with Rhys Hoskins. With Bryce Harper not even playing the field. They could have run it back that way. They could have put Bryce in right field. They could have put Castellanos in left. And they could have went with less defense but more offense. I think it was a mistake. 215-592-9494. Get you aboard. A lot to discuss today on the Phillies. Frustrating loss last night. Wheeler pitched really well. That's a good silver lining. Wheeler's off to a great start.
Yeah, the pitching looks pretty decent. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing about it is because the offense is not offensing. They're not being
they're offensive.
Yeah, they're offensive, but they're not offensing. And you're wasting some good up-and-coming team. Yeah, you shouldn't have did that.
But, I mean, you're right. They shouldn't have lost the series. They easily could have swept it if the bats showed up. 215-592-9494.